Hello and welcome to Weekly Open. If you are on one of the LedgerCast channels, you may be confused right now. Today's Monday, not Friday. I'm going to be with the same person I'm with on Friday, but it is Monday. It's 9:30 Eastern Time. It's time for the Weekly Open. We're trying something new here. First, let me welcome my friend, known to all in my universe, Josh Olswich. Hey, Josh.
Literally rolled out of bed. I was up
You're
late.
here.
I was making margin calls all night. Somebody had to do
Making
it.
margin calls.
Somebody had to do it.
You were just personally liquidating the Bears.
Yeah, and just remember, everybody, these legacy folks, this is a tough time for them right now. They're not going to understand. It's going to be very confusing. So go easy on them. They're going to need some guidance. They're going to need a soft hand. Just steering them in the right direction here.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're here. Of course, people who are dedicated listeners to everything that I put out, which is very few people, but thank you anyways. You used to be on Weekly Open.
Mm-hmm.
And you and I have been doing LedgerCast for 7 years or something ridiculous because we're old. Since late 2017. It was basically the top.
You were the podcasting Sherpa. So I've opened a Discord over the past couple days, and now I need a Discord Sherpa. Okay.
Yeah, not doing that.
I'm ready to welcome a Discord Sherpa into my life. So if you're out there, let me know.
Well, you and I did not record on Friday, and I've talked.
We didn't want to jinx it.
That's right. I didn't want to jinx it. We knew the weekend was going to be good.
Yeah.
Coming into this stream for Weekly Open, I talked last time before the holidays how I was going to bring on friends and guests, regular content, shaped differently than Friday, but with some of the same kind of routine of people that I like talking to. You're one of those people that I like talking to. So we just thought we'd put two things in one. So this is going to be formatted in a Weekly Open-ish kind of way, but they're very similar. So don't worry about it. But anyway, I'm over-explaining it now. I'm over-explaining it, Josh. But I'm happy to have you here. I'm happy to have the chat here. The chat could be anywhere right now. There's 2 YouTubes and a Twitch where they could be joining us from. We see them all in one place. So y'all talk to us. We'll answer some questions along the way. We'll explain to you why your bags are going down, even though Bitcoin is up. Unless you have pudgy penguins, in which case you're doing just fine today.
Are they though? Are they up even in ETH? I know they're up in ETH terms, but I'd have to look at the math on that.
Dude, they went to 11 ETH floor from 7, 6. They've doubled.
Well, I guess I'm in my head. I'm thinking over the past 4 hours or something. Whenever I went to bed, Sol is down 4%.
Josh is in the weeds. He's in the weeds.
The best type of rally where Bitcoin has such a massive day that it's stripping.
You don't even have the trading gloves. Can you really be perfectly equipped without your trading gloves on? I don't think you're quite at peak performance.
I literally just rolled out of bed, literally 5 minutes ago. So, no, but Bitcoin's up so much it's stripping market share from alts. It's pulling alts are down,
alts are down. This is December. December likes to do this. Honestly,
December to remember Toyotathon.
This December to remember. Go get Toyota Corolla today. That's
a good chart. That's a good chart, by the way. We should see how many BTC per Toyota Corolla over the past 10 years.
Oh, that is a good chart, and it's reasonably comparable.
Yeah.
It's definitely at a positive multiple for BTC at the moment because Bitcoin hit $40,000 per coin over the weekend. All right, let me reiterate one more time. We're on multiple YouTubes because this is 2 podcasts that I'm recording together. I'm just streaming on both. Normally, Weekly Open is just on the Weekly Open YouTube, youtube.com/Weekly Open. LedgerCast, or the Friday show, is on Twitch and YouTube, depending on which one. Ledger Status is the channel for both of those. Don't worry about all that. We're just going to talk. But subscribe to both. So, yeah, 2020, Bitcoin tripled from October to January. We broke out from 10K right after DeFi summer and went nuts for 2 or 3 months straight. That's when Bitcoin went to 33K for the first time. The Carpe knocked him target magnet.
Got to bring that up, huh?
Yeah, sorry. And then in January went to about 42, 43 before Bitcoin topped and alts went nuts. But for a multi-month period, Bitcoin took over, alts went down, Bitcoin went up. This inverse correlation was something that we did a lot. And honestly, in my personal opinion, it is a significant sign of market health. Like, you really do need Bitcoin to lead. And I've said for a long time, one of the things I'm concerned about is what if Bitcoin and everything just kind of float up at the same rate and you succeed taking this like high beta route with altcoins. And as much as I like to trade altcoins, for overall market health, and it makes sense for Bitcoin to win for periods of time, significant periods of time. We haven't seen that much. We saw it some on the way down, but this is actually seeing it on the way up because most of the rally, Solana's outperformed, Ethereum has underperformed, but there's been like Solana and other coins that have outperformed Bitcoin every time Bitcoin goes up. So this is the first time in quite some time where Bitcoin is showing strength to the detriment of altcoins. So don't get discouraged if your bags are down, but you might want to consider your allocations. Maybe we should pull up a chart, Josh.
Yeah, I was just.
I'm only on my third cup of coffee, but I'm zipping today.
Third? I mean, I'm just here to. I'm listening to you at this point. I just took my first sip, and you're in your third cup. Jesus.
Yeah. Took the kids to school. Went back to school. My son forgot his backpack, so I had to take it back. I'm dressed. I'm ready.
Classic.
Look at this. Here we go.
Moisturized in your own lane.
Driving.
Yeah, sorry. I was just looking at the cloud, the weekly cloud. I just can't. Every time it happened, look, it's like a once every 4-year trade that you don't expect to go straight up, but it's literally been 7 straight weeks.
It has been 7 actual weekly candles of up only. So this is the part where I was talking about 2020. We broke above 10K. So DeFi summer happened over here where there was not near as much going on in Bitcoin. And then from October through January, Bitcoin just went up only. It had two massive wicks, but red weeks, and otherwise had incredible amounts of just expansion. Maybe we're doing something like that. The big difference, though, is that we didn't have this so far. So like we could be here, or maybe our sideways that we've been having was this. I don't know if you're trying to draw a parallel, like maybe all this sideways that we experienced from April until October, which is only 6 months. It's very compressed. Maybe that was the same as the 2019 cool down. I don't know, Josh. I don't know. I haven't given that consideration yet.
So what you need to do, what everybody needs to do, okay, is put the Bitcoin halvings on your chart, including altcoin charts. Okay, because that gives you some.
You don't even, I thought you had it ready to go.
I do. It's right here. Look, boom.
You got other crap in there. Take your cloud off so that people can see your halvings.
Hey, listen, the cloud is not crap. My
I didn't
point.
say crap. I said cloud. You just translated that in your head.
Look, we don't have to fight in front of everybody. Okay.
How about that edge trade though? If we're gonna put the cloud up there.
Yes. So for those who are unaware, this is an indicator called Ichimoku Cloud. I use different settings than default, 2060, 120, 30. I have noticed
double weekly cloud in Carpe Noctem settings, which is the goated cloud setup.
Thank you. Some people dispute that to this day. They say that other settings, no, it doesn't matter. I don't care what settings people use. Anyway, point is, these settings give you few setups, but very high conviction setups. One such setup is this exact move, where once we start to close inside of the cloud, it suggests we move to the other side. It doesn't suggest we do it in 7 weeks, but we've done this in the pre-halving year, every pre-halving year. Okay. So this is like not a surprise. And it also says, be careful here, because we typically top out around the weekly cloud. which is also the 618 fib from the previous cycle. So if you measure all of them, we're looking at, you know, the 50% retrace. All this really is, it's Dow theory, but it's a way to visualize the actual entry for the mean reversion setup.
Wow.
If people know what that is.
Josh has got pitchforks and clouds and Fibonacci retraces all telling you to sell now.
So there is a huge confluence for 42 to 49, I guess, 48.
Mm-hmm.
If we actually push through that, I will be extremely surprised.
So do you recall a couple weeks ago we were talking and looking at this, and my thought based on this and also just the way Bitcoin likes to do its thing is that maybe we actually go to that 0.618 or that 47 territory, which is also very close to the weekly close before we melted to zero. And maybe we blast through that and then come slam the top of the cloud as support. Because what we haven't had in the 7 weeks, and this is what I was mentioning in a chat last night. Udy made fun of me a little bit for it, but I was like, I think we haven't had like that butt clenching drawdown daily, like the 20-25%. Everybody's over leveraged, gets nuked, and you just really get creamed on a couple of daily wicks or a couple of daily moves. And I wonder if maybe we get really out over our skis in that 47, 48 territory, and then come see what happens using the same level we're at now as some kind of support. What do you think about that?
No, I agree completely. We've been talking about a wick from here to 47 to 48.
Yeah.
And then like a 20% pullback, right? And that would probably be what, 38 at that point?
Yeah, it could be as low as 38 if you went back into the cloud. That would be the worst scenario. The better one would be like you plow through on the weekly and then close it above, but then you test the top of the cloud. So you treat 42, something like that. The more bearish one is the parallel back to 2016 that you show there, where you kind of pierce above and then you find your way back in.
Well, I don't think it'll be like a 30-second move where you have to make a decision. I think we'll have
might take all week.
Well, I think we'll know over the course of the next 2 weeks what the structure looks like on like the 4-hour.
Yeah.
Because at the top of 2019, right, we had a massive, like huge consolidation for weeks. Now you didn't like optic a sell at 13K, right? But you had plenty of opportunity to get out if you wanted to. So I think something very similar to that is probably what we're going to see.
Zabs in the chat says it's called China bans Bitcoin Day, which historically that was our favorite narrative. Now it's going to be America bans Bitcoin. We're the new China. It may end up indeed looking a lot like this gold chart looks right now.
Well, here's the other thing.
3 times last night, Josh, on the futures open.
Yeah.
He's
anyway.
euphoric.
He's euphoric after what, 6 years? We actually moved up.
Yeah, and then it just melted down. Like he was like, gold turbo mooned on the open, then like wow, 21.65. It was like to the top to the dollar, the top, and now it's down on the day. So there you go, Peter. Sorry. Hope you're doing okay.
I want everybody who pays attention to this stuff on socials to like watch what the TradFi guys say about Bitcoin here. If they say that it's correlated because of social unrest or whatever, like I don't know, like they're gonna try to ascribe some narrative to this, and it's just interesting to hear what they say. I think everything is bullish because of the liquidity picture has taken an upswing. We're draining the reverse repo, which is just this buffer of cash sitting on the sidelines that's getting sucked into the Treasury General account. But they're going to say, XYZ reason, and then they're going to come out in force when we inevitably have a 20% retracement day or something, right? Like, but the move's already happened, right? So like, I think a lot of people who missed it are thinking like, okay, what's next? It's like, now we probably consolidate for a little bit, If we didn't have an ETF announcement, how would you trade this? Is what I'm sort of hinting at people. Like, you'd probably be selling up here, right?
Yeah, it's getting closer for me. I mean, this 47-ish number, this little level right, I'll show you. I have it a bright red line on my chart. So the yellow boxes were my, kind of churn through areas. Turned out we just plowed through the second one. But this is my spot where I start getting a little concerned, mostly because I do still believe like we need, these are your kind of all-time high. The fever pitch of all-time high talk will be higher and higher up here. And I'm not sure if we're ready for all-time highs here or stock market, but both are the stock market especially is threatening all-time highs, but Bitcoin above the bright red line, it could be 2 days or 3 days of like massive leverage up only type candles that creates this all-time high type talk. And I think that would be very dangerous territory. So yeah, the bright red line is some serious resistance for me personally. And while I do think some of these rotation trades could absolutely happen, and I think could make some sense, especially with the seasonality. We always have crazy stuff December and January, whether it's up or down. It's always a time to really make your stance, whether it's profit taking or like max deploying. I don't know which one it would be this year. Sometimes I feel a little more obvious. I would like the decision's a little more obvious. But I do think we're going to get some fireworks the rest of this, like, Christmas through the early January. And if we're battling all-time highs in that territory, like I really think it could distinguish a local top for Bitcoin. And if we really pump into all-time highs, then I think alts have gotten crushed all December if we're pushing into that zone. And then maybe you create a rotation trade in early January into alts and then cool down basically all of Q1 at a bare minimum. That's my just some like random, napkin thoughts, shower thoughts.
So the Q1 seasonality for Bitcoin is poor. The Q2 seasonality is excellent. I would love to see. Okay, don't throw tomatoes in the chat, but I'd love to see a move from 42 to 26. I would absolutely love that.
42 to 26.
Yeah,
not happening.
I would love to see like an Eiffel Tower to
should we put a second stake on this, Josh? Because I'm
not going to bet on it. I'm just saying it's something I'd love to see because that gives you another trade opportunity, right?
If we go to 26, we go to 16, bro. I don't see it.
I'm not short. I'm not in cash. Calm down. I'm just saying, look, if I'm trying to like look for trades as a possibility, we're still technically inside the weekly cloud. Okay. So when you're thinking about like, what's the next trade for the weekly cloud? Well, it's through the weekly cloud, which is the other side now, 26. I don't think it'll happen, but it's something to just keep in the back of your mind if we start to, violently start selling off over the next 3 months or something, right? Over the next quarter.
Maybe you get a sub 30K type wick, but I think there will be buyers, natural buyers of Bitcoin.
Yeah, no, I don't think we'd stay there. I'm just saying, like, part of it is like the edge to edge stuff. Part of it is just having some random brainstorming vision of where this could possibly go, and not for nothing, by the way, the pitchfork, which people absolutely love to hate on. Yeah. Guess what? We're at the top of that thing too.
So my thought would be a Q1 consolidation is very likely, in my opinion. And consolidation means there's some down in there too, right? You got to frame the consolidation with the high and the local high and the local low, and then you spend Q1 in the middle.
Well, the other thing about the legacy attention, like that's also part of like the check mark tick box on top things, I already saw it last night a little bit as we got above 40K. So
people
today
capitulating in,
kind of, right? Like it's going to get in media attention. We're above 40. It's going to be all over CNBC and Bloomberg and everywhere else. Like all of look at the crypto stonks. They are absolutely rocket ship.
Yeah,
insanity.
Coin up 8% today.
BitX 15%.
145.
MSTR 8%. CleanSpark 18%.
Hey, how about a classic? If you need a textbook Head and Shoulders reversal, though, I mean, beautiful. That's a beautiful inverted.
You caught me mid sip, but no, it's a great one. I posted it on TradingView like a couple months ago now. It looks great, continues to look great. You're going to see a headline today that ARK is probably going to have to sell more.
Why did they? What's going on here? Why is Kathy selling her winners and doubling down on her losers? Why is she selling coin?
So I assume their products have a 10% allocation cap, and I also assume that coin is exceeding that cap. But why are you rotating into Hood?
Yeah, people have been talking about this Robinhood rotation trade. I don't see it. I don't see it. I think coin is a fundamentally more secure business than Robinhood.
It's just their risk, whatever their risk parameters are. That's why they're changing the allocation. That's my read on it. I mean, we'll see how bad it ends up being for them, right? They're already down, I don't know, X amount of USD relative to where they last sold, where they could have been holding.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I've told you this, but one of my ways to like capture the Bitcoin upside is through BitTo options. So I've traded them a few times, but my legacy products consist of ETH and BitTo. It's like I have not. I should have done coin. I should have kept coin, but I didn't. But I have still felt pretty good because I've been playing. That's the only place I've actually played any margin is through long calls in a retirement protected account. I actually have hardly made a trade. I've kept my allocations extremely consistent since the summer. And feels kind of good, but I'm also now in December. I feel like I'm locked into what I got because I ain't trading nothing until January. Like I'm not, unless it's in a retirement account that's tax protected, but I'm not accepting capital gains at this time of year. And I wonder if that leads to that same type of thinking leads to a furtherance of whatever's going on so far.
Well, I think that's part of the seasonality argument as well. Is like,
look, always is. Yeah,
January is a down month because December is usually good, right? Or the previous year has usually been good. We've only had like what 3 down years in the past decade or something. So anyway, the Q1 seasonality typically is poor. I think because of that, because everybody's thinking about cap gains. I don't want to pay those taxes this year either. I definitely want to let it just do whatever it's going to do.
Not even about like long term, like paying short term versus long term. I just don't want to pay them this. Like
exactly.
You wait 26 days and then you can postpone that payment by another 12 months.
365 days.
Yeah. It's basically borrowing from your future things you owe. Like you're just super zero interest loan. And yeah, to your point, Bitcoin's had 3 yearly down 3 down years ever. This looks like a potential engulfing from an annual perspective. And yeah, I don't know. Another thing that I think about with what are we fundamentally potentially misunderstanding with Bitcoin right now? And I think one of them is the latter half, but the majority of the upside for last cycle, we had really, really terrible players like rehypothecation of Bitcoin from FTX. And even if you look at like the GBTC trade, some other things that provided force multipliers that really prevented Bitcoin from ever establishing significant dominance. Rehypothecation is going to do that, right? People are selling Bitcoin that they don't actually have and then using it to pump alts. And I wonder if maybe that dominance trade could be a little more exaggerated than we're giving it the potential for. And I'm trying to figure out, what are we not ready for? You know what I mean?
So last cycle in 2020, post-halving, we also had Sailor around that time started buying. We had other legacy players. Not One River. It's on Coinbase now, but Eric Peters. He doesn't do a lot of media or anything, but he's in like River Asset Management. They were buying in a big way, I think, in Thanksgiving 2020. So we saw a lot of super quick action post-halving. And I think that also aided itself to extra rotation type stuff early on. So ideally, we have a 2016, 2017 situation. This feels like a 2019 pre-halving move to me, like just a vanilla. This is what we do, right?
It does. It looks vanilla.
We don't have to retrace, right? But based on N of 3, we have. So just keep that in mind for everybody who's like, we're going to keep going. We might, if we had no ETF announcement, we probably would, or we probably wouldn't. Hold on. If we had an ETF announcement, we're probably going to keep going, which we still do. Okay. We're already at the logical target to stop.
I think the ETF announcement is, the ETF's secure, right?
Right. I feel like the announcement's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news. The actual opening of the product is going to be a glide path higher. But
yeah, I think that's actually fair because I'm a huge I disrespect the sell the news type of narrative with the Bitcoin ETF because it is a structurally sound gobbler of spot ETF or spot Bitcoin. It's not like the futures product, and so I think it'll create a passive demand for people that are just going to allocate to Bitcoin. But I do agree with you. If there you could sell it initially and then it becomes bullish. But anyway,
well, you don't have to do anything, right? But if you're trading this, then of course you're looking for a trade. But if you're investing, who cares?
Yeah.
You just keep holding.
There's a good little debate going on in the chat. Our buddy Rob, asks, what happens if the Fed cuts in the spring of next year? What a rate cut to do to crypto? I think it pretty much depends on what is the nature of the rate cut, because they're kind of in a pickle. The Fed's losing money hand over fist, and to your point, Josh, about adding liquidity back, building up their own war chest. Even in the case of a soft landing, they may need to, if they can identify a path to cut rates for their own sake, where the economy does not demand it, then it could be very bullish for crypto. If we're slashing rates because we overshot and went too fast and broke more stuff than we anticipated, and the economy is in a downward spiral, then we're going to get crushed with everything else, and it will create a significant buying opportunity, because I think we would pretty quickly revert to an easy money era that would exacerbate all the problems that we faced in the first place. So that's my personal thoughts. What do you think?
I think the market's pricing in cuts, and I think they're also pricing in inflation remaining below 3%, based on the real-time inflation estimators of Truflation. True inflation is actually rising again slowly. So we're going to have this really awkward period where CPI is going to still be coming down because it's a lagging housing component in CPI, versus the real-time estimates that are going to be slowly ticking up. So that's something to watch out for in 2024. Definitely.
Do you think the housing element is really going to be a significant indicator? Because I feel like housing is its own special beast, and people assume it's going to be the same as 08. And, I don't think that's the case. I think if we see economic weakness, it shows up in all the other forms of debt. But what do you think?
Well, in CPI, it's 40% of the equation or something?
Yeah, in the way CPI is calculated. But I mean, in the event of the economy takes a downward turn, I think housing and people, especially people with cheap rates on housing that are locked in for 30 years, will be preserved at all costs. And what will not be preserved is, your $100,000 car and your $1,500 car payment.
I'm still seeing the car dealership guy on Twitter. He's still posting these Escalades selling 15,000 over sticker price. So
yeah, but
we're
it's
still
just
seeing
very, very hit or miss. It's certain models. It's not absolutely everything. I guess
so. My point is with real estate as well. We can't. I don't think we can paint a broad brush and say the entire country is going to have X. because we're already seeing Austin, Dallas, SF, New York, the big cities, the top 10, they're already seeing pretty decent declines in housing prices, but they were bubblicious previously, right? So like, how much further are they going to decline, and then is that going to drag down the rest of the country? I don't know, but I don't think.
I think if you affect homes, you're going to have a really outsized effect on certain types of homes. Like Airbnbs are getting wrecked right now. San Francisco is getting turbo wrecked. I think vacation homes, second homes, Ledger finally buys a lake house because people are getting liquidated. Like, I'm not celebrating their liquidation, but I do want a lake house for cheaper. It took all my effort to not buy a lake house at the top, Josh. I'm just saying, like, I wanted to buy a lake house at the top, and I think a lot of people did through COVID, or then they like loose money regime. They had all this free cash flow, and again, Rob's making the argument here. Regular people are hurting for cash, making cuts. What are those cuts going to be? I agree with that. And this fits the stagflation narrative, right?
Well, this goes back to the point I made about what are the legacy people going to say about this Bitcoin move? Is it because metals are up, rates are down? Like, what are they going to ascribe to this? Because they're probably not going to say like the world is falling apart, that's why Bitcoin is rising.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They'll call it insiders or money laundering, something or another. I don't know. There'll be some terrible take. I don't care what their take is. I
only care from like a sentiment perspective. I don't actually care about what they have to say.
So a phrase I used a long time ago, I went on a macro type of legacy podcast that I really like, called Market Huddle, and I called Bitcoin a chaos asset. And I still kind of stand by that, because you're trying to pigeonhole how's Bitcoin going to act. Is it going to act like oil? Is it going to act like gold? Is it going to act like the NASDAQ? Like, it's really challenging, because I don't think you can put it in all those, square holes when it's a circle. It's a different thing. And I think,
well, look at NASDAQ today, down 1%.
Yeah.
That means Mag 7 is probably down, whereas the low caps, the breadth, as
what did you say? Mag 7?
Mag 7.
Mag 7.
Magnificent 7.
The Magnificent 7. I don't watch CNBC, so I didn't know that term.
Point is, we were going in the opposite direction of NASDAQ, right? So,
yeah. And we do stuff like that all the time. It's like NASDAQ's pumping, Bitcoin will pump. Oil's pumping, Bitcoin will pump. Gold's pumping, Bitcoin. It's like, when do we not pump? Is when the dollar's pumping. That's when we don't buy. Like, Bitcoin is an alternative to fiat currency, and other correlations take a back seat to that.
It's also down 1%. Gold
is down 1%. Somebody check on Peter. We need a health check. Peter, somebody call Spencer, or whatever his son's name is. Just say, hey, give your dad a call, see how he's doing. He's really excited about that futures open last night.
I think the TLDR generally is just look, it's a highly volatile, illiquid asset that runs on vibes, like.
Yeah. MG says retail getting soft. I think he's indicating essentially that like your big money narratives are what's going to drive the market, not your random retail folks who are going to buy the absolute dumbest stuff on the market. And I think that makes sense, but maybe he's talking about something broader than that. But in terms of the way it affects liquid trading markets, I really don't see a case for the AMC, GME, Doge like type of stuff to make the most sense. I think those are pretty stupid types of plays. Now, you'll always have your gambling games inside the crypto landscape where it's just degenerates trading with one another in a zero-sum environment. But when you're talking in the legacy landscape where there's a lot more market efficiency and people that are happy to fade those types of plays, I don't think it's going to happen. And I'm being called a mid-curve for that take.
Yeah, look, I agree. Retail has no money. Retail's trying to figure out.
That's like all you need right there, right?
Retail's trying to figure out how to pay for groceries, how to pay for rent, how to pay for medicine. Like it's the sad state of affairs, but that's where we're at. And the retail bidders who bid up AMC and or AME, AMC and G, whatever it is,
AMC, GME,
meme stonks. I feel as though at the moment they are tapped out. You know, you keep seeing these charts of like excess savings, which is such an insidious term. It's like unhosted wallets. It just drives me nuts. But if you look at the breakdown for that, you know, the people at the bottom, their savings is definitely wiped. Okay, so yeah, I don't know what it's, you know, if we get another stimulus, which hey, we might. It's a pre-election year, right? We might keep spending, baby.
Uncle Joe bucks.
Yeah, Biden. You know, Biden still potentially is gonna cancel out student loans, which I'll take. I don't think I'll qualify, but I'll take it.
Hey, I was thinking of a narrative this morning, and it's the first time I've had this thought, but this is a long ways off. But it's like next cycle. We're already talking. I'm going to talk about next cycle.
We just talked at the 40. What are you talking about next cycle?
No. Next cycle. I think that the amount of craziness that we have not after this next presidential election into the one that follows is going to be insane. One, you may literally have a, you know, VP that ascends and then creates chaos going into 2028. But here's the kicker: the 100th anniversary of the Great Depression. Are we gonna create some stuff? 2029 is that our year of total and utter chaos?
I haven't even.
I know.
That's crazy.
I'm just planning ahead, buddy. 100-year anniversary, the centennial of Black Friday.
Are they going to issue a coin?
Black Friday? What do they call it?
Is that when the CBDC comes out?
October 29th, 2029. What do you think?
That's too scary.
I know. It's like it lines up, man. If you're a believer in the simulation, I'm just saying.
I mean, we had the pandemic in 1918, 2020, you know. If you're one of those, who's that guy who did like astrology? I'm gonna blank on his name.
The guy shoot catfishing.
There was this dude who was like crypto famous because of his astrological predictions.
Maren Ottman.
No, not her. Somebody in chat. He was like an older guy with a beard.
Nostradamus.
No. somebody in chat is gonna know. Somebody in chat. Anyway, can we talk about the 4-hour real quick on Bitcoin?
Yeah, I'm just gonna let you do your thing. You take over here.
So collectively, this is a massive win for chart patterns, for technical analysis. I don't think we say that enough because we just assume that it's, you know, I think we take it for granted that it works as well as it does. At least I definitely do. You know, we had an ascending triangle here. We have an ascending triangle on ETH that's breaking out. We've got
Was it Kazanomics?
No, not Cliff High. Thank you, Zab. Cliff freaking High.
Chris with a beard got it first.
Oh, sorry, Chris with a beard. Yeah, Cliff High. What's he up to these days? Anyway, massive win for TA. You know, weekly edge to edge on the cloud, ascending triangle on Bitcoin and ETH, cup and handle on gold, inverted head and shoulders on gold, potentially cup and handles coming on S&P and the Qs. So all that stuff certainly isn't bearish. You know, I still see people, thank you bears, who are still bearish up here because we need you to keep refueling the rocket ship. Anyway, on the 4-hour, we're looking quite parabolic at this point. I don't think you can ignore that up here.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the down? You could retest 40K or something and consolidate. Like you always do that. You move and then you consolidate, move and then you consolidate. I don't think there's anything indicating that we have to just get totally wrecked.
No, it just depends. You know, if you're here and you have nothing open, what do you do, right? Or if you have a ton of stuff open, like probably most of us do, what do you do, right? So for me, I'm looking at this parabolic move on the 4-hour. I'm looking at the 4-hour. I was on the wrong. Sorry. This is the parabola I was talking about real quick. We've exited the channel and we're just, you know, full send. We're above the monthly pivot, whatever. just be careful, right? This is the ascending triangle with the target. We're above the target. We don't have a div yet on the 4 hour, which I think gives us an opportunity for some room, but we've seen this like trident pattern on the wicks, right here.
Yeah.
We've seen this a bunch, and it usually doesn't end well. So
some of the things you could be looking at though are perps leading or is spot leading? Which exchanges are leading? How's funding look?
Right.
How's the rest of the market look? Are we aping, Doge and Bonk and everything else? Bonk is going nuts apparently. But what is going up and what is not? I currently, at least from my outside view, think it looks pretty healthy. Having a reason for caution doesn't create a reason to like short or sell or remove spot positioning or whatnot. Now, if you're
hold on, let me be clear. If you want to lose money, okay, even if you're right over the next 3 days, if you want to lose money, just keep shorting these moves during the bull market. Okay.
Yeah. The question is, how do you prepare yourself to buy one of those dips if they come up?
Yeah.
In a way that also keeps your exposure pretty much in line. That's what I would be looking to do. If I was highly levered right now, I would have a hard time to stay highly levered. So anyway, I don't know. Different people got to play a different game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just trying to game out what people would be thinking about here.
Should we talk a little GBTC ETH?
Yeah. So GBTC way above the weekly cloud. Actually, the first time it's been above the weekly cloud, pre-halving year. It's kind of the first one. But that discount, I'm sure, is less than 8% right now.
I'll check it out. I pulled up ETHs first. It's actually pushed the other direction a little bit. It's at 14.5. And then let me see. GBTC is 8.7.
Okay.
So, I don't know. That's probably where it should be for GBTC. For ETH as a not Bitcoin product and, theoretically further away from that ETF that makes all this irrelevant. Maybe it has a little more room to squeeze that, but yeah, both are pretty much caught up. Like I think the grayscale trade is probably done.
I would agree. The only caution I would give on that is what happens for the announcement of the ETF, but it is up like 300.
Do you just pinch that last bit all at once?
Yeah, do you pinch that loaf a little bit more? Yeah. It is up 300% on the year. Okay, so like to expect anything more, I don't know, but another excellent, setup trade, whatever you want to call it. All right, let's talk about ETH.
Well, hold on before you talk about ETH.
Yeah.
Let's have one more kind of Bitcoin macro thing because somebody's just tossing you an absolute softball here, Josh.
Okay.
Ozzy asks, what are your thoughts on the pi cycle? Coincidental that it always nails the top, or is there more to it? Josh was probably the only person on planet Earth talking about the pi cycle and the chance of it being the top when it was the top this last round. What's the pi cycle telling us today about Bitcoin and kind of macro crypto thought?
So I was probably the only person who was paying attention to pi cycle last cycle.
Yeah, can you even tell me what it is? I've forgotten.
It's a back tested moving average and a moving average multiplier. Let me pull it up real quick. You can pull it up on TradingView. I'm pretty sure it's in here. Yeah, pi cycle Bitcoin top.
And can we turn some other stuff off so that we can see it?
Yeah, sorry. Let's go to here. Right. We'll turn off all this stuff.
That's literally where it prints the indicator. It puts the indicator on the chart for you.
Yeah, so
it nailed 2 cycles.
On TradingView, depending on which indicator you choose, it'll have the moving averages or not. But if you look at all of the tops, okay, it was, I don't know when it was actually released, but it was back tested probably to the prior 3 all-time highs in 2018, if I had to guess. Point is, it looks fine right now. Okay, we got plenty of room, but it is something to just probably acknowledge in the periphery.
This is based purely on price action, right? This is not based on volume or anything else.
No, this is just purely moving averages. It's the 111 daily moving average and the 350 times 2 daily moving average.
350 times 2 is just 700. What is it?
No, I think it's the multiple. You know, like the 2-year moving average multiplier is the 5x.
Yeah. It creates a spread.
Yes.
Is this applicable to other assets as well?
So it's created in 2019. So it is back tested to the prior 3 all-time highs. Yes.
Okay, so this is just massive curve fitting to look back at those other ones.
It is, but it was also accurate enough to actually tell you, almost like to 3 days within the window of the last all-time high.
Yeah.
So we could put this on ETH, right, and see what it says.
So I want to leave it here for a second.
Okay.
111 versus the 350 times 2, meaning 350 times 2 just takes the 350 and then plops it up x2 and in the same time frame. So it just creates a much higher target. So it's essentially saying your faster moving average is starting to show weakness at the same time that the price is still way up high, right? Is that really what's going on there?
Sure. That's one way to read it.
Interesting. All right. It feels like curve fitting still to me, but it is wizardry if you look at
it. Look, at the end of the day, all TA is looking at the left side of the chart to predict the right side of the chart. That's all we're doing. So this is one indicator in a list of like 5. You've got MVRV.
So Ozzy brings up the reason it's even called pi is because that 350 divided by 111 is roughly 3.14. So that's the other element of why applying those specific moving averages brings you to a pi-like number. Yeah.
So someone in chat saying it's not applicable to ETH. That is correct. You would have to backtest different moving averages, right? But the same principle.
Why do you have to backtest different moving averages?
Because this is backtested to Bitcoin. I mean, we can look.
Like if you just pull it up on that TradingView thing, will it not just apply it to ETH's price action?
I think it will.
Yeah, it will not work is what. All right.
I was afraid I was going to use the Bitcoin price data anyway, but it didn't in this case. So yes, this is terrible.
I remain intrigued, but not impressed.
Well, the point is, don't rely on a single indicator for your, market cycle top. Okay, we've got tons of other options. You've got power law corridor. You've got moving average multiplier. You've got MVRV. There's tons of stuff.
I'm now being called a jerk for disrespecting the pi cycle top indicator. Listen.
These people, they get
curve fitting is not trying to be a jerk. It's trying to be a skeptic.
They get passionate.
Yeah, I'm not taking it out of the tool chest or anything. I'm just not gonna use it as my only tool.
They get passionate.
Yeah. Apparently, there's also a pi cycle bottom, and it almost nailed the bottom.
Yeah, I have had people ask me about that. I don't know enough about it to.
Hey, a big fan of pie. So
pi cycle bottom,
pecan pie, coconut pie, pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie, obviously.
I had a peanut butter pie over the holidays. That was pretty interesting.
Sounds like diabetes to me. So here's the pi cycle bottom. I guess it was close.
Yeah.
I mean, it's close enough, right?
Listen, if you just want to use this, you'll probably be just fine, right? You'll probably outperform 99% of people. So I'm not against it.
I think MVRV
saying the trend is your friend till the end, and it just gives you a pathway for that. So use it. Go ahead. You'll do great.
I think of all of the existing on-chain indicators, this is by far the best one. Okay, it's looking at market cap relative to cost basis on chain. When market cap exceeds cost basis by several multiples, that has been the top. I think of that as like unrealized profits that are in the system that haven't been realized yet. And it's been pretty good. Again, we got tons of room on this to the upside still. So
yeah, I do like this chart. We've looked at this one a lot, and this says nothing to Nothing to nothing to go crazy about yet.
No, I mean, if you look at, they don't have the halvings on here, but if you look at all the pre-halving years, we are in line with expectations even on MVRV. So
hitting a local top doesn't mean that you've hit a cycle top.
Definitely not.
A local top can lead to consolidation that is important in order to be able to continue moving forward.
It is early. People just got to the parking lot. Okay, they threw the first pitch. They did the national anthem. That's where we're at for me in the cycle.
I will say, based on my, your coffee conversations, your talking to other dads at the soccer field type conversations, nobody else is in yet. Like,
no,
it is just the lifers that are paying attention. The other people they haven't even gotten quite to the like, why is crypto up? Like, they haven't even gotten to that. They're like, oh, I haven't even looked at my Coinbase account in 2 years. Like, I just assumed it was all worth zero. My stuff is worth zero because I bought, I don't know, some other thing that went to zero. And we're still in that stage. So this is where you build your base. This is where you create your buying power, and you take your time. You try not to lose money too bad. You try to keep it chill.
Well, because of the media attention, we should start to see the social indicators, including like, family texting, curl up, Google Trends, those things, right? We're going to see a bunch of news articles this week about Bitcoin and why it's up and why you should buy it and all this other stuff, right?
Listen, the Thanksgiving pump is one of the best pumps that you can bank on in crypto. It's like when you're up a little bit and on the year in crypto, Thanksgiving to Christmas is just like boom. Now, Christmas, if you're staring at your phone, euphoric, all that kind of stuff, maybe it's time to take a look at hedges. Not that I've been there. It's like
you're in the Zillow tab.
Excuse me, I need to use the restroom and check TradingView. I'll come back for some more eggnog. All right.
Yeah, but we're not there yet.
Not there yet.
No. ETH.
Yeah, we got 7 minutes for ETH. ETH's fine. It's fine. It's underperforming, but it's not like getting turbo wrecked. I think the weekly USD chart is awesome. I think it's going to absolutely slam into that cloud and do a catch-up trade. But it's hard to catch-up trades are tricky, man. It's a trade that I've always liked to do, but it's almost never been in my best interest. So whether ETH BTC outperforms, even if it goes to 2,800, it's hard for me to say.
Yeah, what all the alts need right now is for Bitcoin not to violently retrace, because some of them are already down when Bitcoin's up. So if Bitcoin actually retraces to like 38, I mean, alts are going to be down probably pretty hard.
You can get 20, 30, 40% down moves, and people get super wrecked because I think crypto retail, which I would say is people without big money, is probably over allocated to alts. Like always. That's always the case, right? Mm-hmm. Like your big funds, your institutional forward thinkers, your people with lots and lots of money, but they probably own a healthy amount of Bitcoin. Those of us just trying to make it, the majority of people listening to this podcast probably own a lot of altcoins relative to Bitcoin, or even Bitcoin and Ethereum.
I mean, I hope not. To own alts in a pre-halving year is kind of silly, just historically, because alts typically do better after Bitcoin's halving. And if you're not sure, just turn on the Bitcoin halving on TradingView and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Alts typically do best after people are back in the system. There's liquidity, there's this wealth effect, there's a hot ball of money rolling around, right? And that's typically after the Bitcoin halving.
I just dream about that hot ball of money.
Well, NFTs, I mean, we saw that and then some over the weekend, right?
Yeah, NFTs, they were super wrecked on an ETH basis. So we could have seen a little bit of an NFT bottom. Picking your winners is no sure thing, but Pudgy Penguins led for sure, went to 11 ETH. But there's some interesting stuff in NFT land right now. Maybe there's a little bit of a comeback. Solana NFTs have done really well. it's still a tough bet for me to just, say, I'm going to throw my net worth into this, especially the stuff that used to exist, because similar to the way altcoins have tended to work, other than your like biggest ones that just have this perpetual motion of foreverness, there'll probably be some new stuff that pops up that has far more upside than any of the old stuff.
Yeah, it's the low caps of NFTs, right? I only bring it up because of the hot ball of money conversation. I don't touch any of this stuff. I'm just, for people who are wondering, but it's just an interesting thing to monitor when you're kind of looking around saying like, why are we so bullish? What's really going on? And then you see all these like indicators for being risk on and everybody just going buck wild. It's just something interesting to pay attention to in the periphery.
Yeah. So the Pudgy Penguin floor is up 90% in a week. Volume is up 115% in 24 hours. It's penguins look good. And there's, activity across the board.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff happening on chain. It's interesting though. I had noticed 2 whale reports of ETH sellers. The Look on Chain Twitter account is great for that. 2 pretty large whales were selling ETH today and yesterday. Rotating into what, I have no clue, but just interesting. Interesting that no one has the faith that this edge to edge on the weekly cloud is actually going to play out.
Yeah.
But overall, things look good. Like you said in the opener, Bitcoin leading is what you need. If you're honest about it, that's what we need. And if we're going the opposite direction of gold, legacy in general, I mean, gold's now down 2% on the day. I mean, what more could you ask for? Bitcoin dominance up to 54% plus.
I haven't looked at that chart in a long time.
Yeah, we can pull that up real quick and then we can get out of here. But things look great. We're pushing out of the weekly.
I'm ignoring the ETH whale seller. Apparently, I don't know what that means. Is there like someone on chain selling?
It means you're a dirty, filthy ETH maxi, okay, bro, and you don't want to acknowledge that ETH is old tech. ETH is dead this cycle.
There's a whale selling Ethereum.
Just acknowledge it, bro. God.
He's not selling, he's decentralizing it.
He's decentralizing his allocation.
Yeah.
One last interesting thing about ETH. So I open up this Discord, right, and I have all these rooms of like Bitcoin, ETH, a bunch of alts, and the dominant conversation has been like, what's with the SOL valuation relative to ETH? It's just kind of interesting as like a sentiment indicator.
This Bitcoin market cap dominance chart looks pretty good.
Looks great. Weekly cloud breakout. The first one since 2019. Sounds about right. We don't have SBF. He's too busy trading Max to come in and sell this down.
Is it real that he's trading mackerel in jail? Because
I hope so.
Crypto Bobby made a prediction about that like a year ago. And I want it to be true. The whole thing, I can't even with that guy.
Yeah. But dominance looks great. It is approaching a TA level from a measured move perspective. But this could go to 77. There's nothing saying like we can't keep going.
There's nothing saying we can't keep going. All right, stay safe out there, y'all. We really appreciate you joining us. We actually did a couple things new. We cross-posted, but we also, even for Weekly Open, started 30 minutes earlier than normal. Started right at when the market opens, which makes it a little harder to pay attention for ourselves if we want to make trades, but I thought it might be fun. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed being with you, Josh. Sorry for the Chains lovers. We're going with the Weekly Open music today, but we'll catch you on Friday, Josh and I. And then next Monday, maybe I'll bring on another special guest. Look forward to seeing y'all. Take it easy. Be good.